So I'm thinking about men and women, as I'm inclined to do sometimes. And what I'm thinking now is wondering how and why there there is such a big difference in the abilities of men and women as regards chess and engineering and mathematics and other things. The bottom line is men perform much better in these areas than women. So I think in chess, for example, one woman has reached number 8 in the world in terms of ability, which is really amazing. But generally, most people who do chess are male. So I'm wondering about this, and I'm thinking there is a basic reality that men are more capable than women in terms of mathematics and spatial calculations and all the relevant abilities you need to be good at chess. I think this is quite clear and obvious in the same way as men's physical abilities are greater than women's. Men are basically stronger. That's just how it is. So men are more capable intellectually than women in general. And this is just a feature of how life works. Now, there's no need for a competition, whatever, between men and women in terms of intellectual ability. And I'm wondering if the reason why men are developed more intellectually than women is because men basically need to achieve more intellectually than women because men don't have babies, women have babies. So men have to compete with other men to make themselves eligible to mate with women and produce children. So men have a need basically to prove themselves in order to impress a woman, in order to mate with her and then produce children. So it seems that fundamentally, in the whole of life, men have a need to succeed so that he can mate. Whereas women don't need to do anything. A woman can do nothing with her life at all, but because she is a woman and she manufactures human beings in her belly, she's the producer of life. She can do nothing and have men competing with each other for her favor. I think it's interesting to see how this basically seems to be how life works. Men need to prove themselves and make themselves eligible. They need to compete with each other so that they can gain a woman's favor. It would seem that men have to do more to make themselves eligible to mate. And when women don't have this pressure from when they're young, they don't have a need to do anything because they're already valuable and important and mate worthy simply by being female. Maybe that's a fundamental difference between men and women. Women produce children, and so women have no pressure to put themselves in the position to be mated with and have children. She is already important and valuable, and she will already almost definitely have children simply by being female. That's the only thing she needs to do. Whereas men, on the other hand, need to prove themselves. They need to make themselves eligible to be fathers, or they will never be fathers. So they have to prove themselves, they have to succeed in order to get a mate, and produce children. I'm wondering if this is the fundamental difference between men and women. Because women have children, there is simply no pressure on them to do anything in the world. They've already succeeded in the world simply by being female. Men, on the other hand, need to establish themselves. They need to prove themselves to make themselves eligible to mate with a woman. So men have more pressure, more desire to compete and succeed than women do. I'm wondering if that is the fundamental difference between men and women, and that explains much more why men achieve more in science, philosophy, mathematics. I'm wondering if it's simply the ability to produce children that women have, if that limits them in a way, it removes the need for women to succeed in any other area. They've already succeeded simply by being a fertile female. It's interesting how the ability of women to compete in engineering or maths or science or whatever, or even something like chess. So it's possible that the basic reason that women don't achieve so much in those areas compared with men, I wonder if it's basically because of pregnancy and childbirth. It's interesting. I'm wondering if that really is what it all comes down to. The main difference between men and women is that women produce children and men have to put themselves in a position to mate with a woman, whereas women can just basically sit back and watch the men compete to be with her, be with them. So it seems that women can relax much more in life, and men have to work to put themselves in position to be able to mate. I think that's interesting to realize this. Men have a need to succeed, whereas women don't really. They've already succeeded simply by being fertile females.